Hi, my name is Dr. Nadia Richardson. I'm the founder of No More Martyrs, a mental health awareness campaign that seeks to build a community of support for Black women and girls. In 2018, No More Martyrs developed the Sisters Speak Suicide Prevention Awareness Program. This was our way of saying, hey, Black women manage suicidal ideations, and really to share some of the statistics around Black women and suicide. We also talked about some of the ways that we can protect each other and shield each other in regards to suicidal ideations. And one of the striking things that we found is that sisterhood, girlfriend conversations, can serve as a preventative and protective factor when it comes to suicidal ideation. And it made me think about just how healing girlfriends are, right? How healing it is to have conversations with girlfriends. And I know you know what I'm talking about. Have you ever just shot the breeze with your girlfriends and walked away feeling loved, feeling seen, feeling centered? That's important, and it's good for our mental health. And so what we decided to do with No More Martyrs was, hey, let's have an ongoing sister conversation. And so we're doing that now by taking Sister Speak a step further and having these regular online conversations. So what I want to do now is bring two of my sisters to the Sister Speak stage, and we're going to show you what Sister Speak is all about.
Hello.
Hi, ladies. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself. We're going to go ahead and get this thing going.
After you, Lanata.
Oh, you know what? Good morning. My name is Lanata Williams, and I'm here in the Washington, D.C. area, and I'm a licensed psychotherapist. Thanks for having me, sis.
Hey.
Hello. Guys, my name is Destiny Love. I am a licensed independent clinical social worker, and I am a mental health professional in Birmingham, Alabama.
And I already introduced myself, Dr. Nadia Richardson, founder of No More Martyrs. So now that we've gotten all of that out of the way, let's go and strip all these titles, right?
Yeah.
Because yes, we are all professionals. Yes, we are all degreed and licensed. Well, y'all are licensed. I'm not. I'm a professor. But we're all of those things. But let me tell you what, we are friends. We are girlfriends. We see each other. We speak with each other. We celebrate each other. We hold each other accountable. And that's what Sister Speak is all about. It's really an opportunity for us to hold space for each other and for ourselves. And so I just want to jump into this conversation, ladies. You know how we are. We're just going to talk, laugh, have fun, and hopefully share some nuggets that the sisters that are watching from around the world and across the country can take with them into their lives and share when they're having their girlfriend conversation. So, all right, let's start this thing off. As I said earlier, Sister Speak is an opportunity for us to hold space for ourselves and for others. So let's just start off with this whole idea of what does it mean to hold space? And I know many people have heard this term, but they may have not really thought very much about what it is. So here's a working definition, right? Holding space means being present mentally, physically, and emotionally, to put the focus on someone else and listen to their feelings and listen to their lives and listen to their thoughts and perspectives while holding no judgment, really just to see them and let them feel seen, to really acknowledge and center their humanness. When we hear about holding space, often, even like in this working definition, it focuses on holding space for others, which is important and really valuable. But Sister Speak, in the way that we approach it, we start by holding space for ourselves first. Because how can you hold space for someone else if you are not holding space to be truly present with yourself, to acknowledge what's going on with you mentally, physically, emotionally, to hold no judgment on yourself, but to learn from your life lessons and understand that this is a journey that we are all on, and we will make mistakes and we will learn from those mistakes, but we also need to celebrate our accomplishments. And when we do great things, and when I say great things, sometimes, especially if you're managing depression, anxiety, what have you, getting out the bed is worth celebrating, right? You know, getting out the bed, we should celebrate that and not minimize those things. And if we do that for ourselves first, we could do it for others. So ladies, tell me, what does holding space mean for you?
Holding space for me, I think about just making room, like moving things out of the way. And it's so it's so amazing how we grow up and, life happens in society and all these messages that come and just really just, it's like they begin to box us in and we don't have the space. We don't have the room to just feel what we want to feel. It starts with as a little child. It's like, oh, you don't need to be sad or you don't need to be this or whatever. So I just think about moving all of that stuff out of the way. I think about an openness. And more importantly, I think just about the grace, like how we have to just approach it all open-handed. That's what I think about when holding space comes up for me.
What about you, Lenata?
I think I like what Destiny said, just thinking about how early we're taught not to hold space for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It could be as small as asking after you hurt yourself, like you could cut your knee, something could happen very, very small, and someone asks you, think of the earliest time when someone asked you, like, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
And how quickly we were kind of taught to be ushered into yes. Mm-hmm. Like, so whenever something happens, you're instantly supposed to be like, oh yeah, I'm okay. Mm-hmm. You could do anything,
right,
as a small child, and you are supposed to be okay. And I can remember the earliest memory that Destiny just triggered for me when someone asked a friend of mine who was a neighbor, and I remember she spoke French. She was one of my best friends, my mom, and I remember asking her, something happened, and she hurt herself, and I asked her if she was okay, and she said no. It blew my mind. Like, I didn't know where to put that. Like, she actually said, like, no, I'm not okay. And I was like, she's not okay. Like, there's some space where she was taught that it's okay for her not to be okay.
Oh, I love it.
After you hurt yourself. And that just kind of, it stood out to me. And I think that holding space now for me as an adult, what that looks like is when I'm not okay, at least being able to articulate that and saying that to myself. Mm-hmm. And if I can't say it out loud, I at least need to know when I'm not okay. Mm-hmm. And how do I announce that to my other friends? Like, how do I tell my friends when I'm not okay? How do I tell my friends, no, like, I can't move forward. I can't go out. I don't want to leave my house. Like, those simple things.
No, absolutely. Think about the language we get early on, right? Like, how many times have you heard, oh, you'll be all right. It's okay. You're fine. Like, we get that language early on, and then we take that with us. Because when you talked about your friend falling, I'm thinking she's going to get up and be like, oh, no, I'm fine. I'm all right. Right. But you said no. She stopped and was like, I'm not okay. And those words, to hear somebody say, it's almost like when you're walking, like when you go to work or something, right? And you ask somebody, hey, how you doing today? Oh, I'm fine. Oh, I'm good. Oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. Oh, something like that, right? Because that's the language they're given. It's almost like we've been taught to showcase that.
Of course.
It's somehow good manners, right? It's polite. The polite thing to say is I'm okay. Because you don't want to burden somebody else with what you have going on. But holding space means with girlfriends, it's not a burden for you to let me know what's going on with you.
Hello.
It's not a burden. I want to know, and I want you to feel comfortable and know that I'm not going to hold judgment, and I'm not going to look at my watch. I'm looking at my watch. I haven't want to watch it forever, but look at my watch and be like, yeah, I got stuff to do. Or, I also think an important aspect of holding space, and I feel very fortunate to have girlfriends. I have y'all. I have my, No More Martyrs team. I have other girlfriends in my life, is being honest enough to let them know if you don't have the capacity to hold space for them, because right now you need to hold space for yourself. And I think I see that because, y'all know, and I think most of the people who follow No More Martyrs, is that I live with the diagnosis of bipolar, right? And as much as I love my girlfriends, some of them who are also managing maybe depression or anxiety or, other things in life, divorce or loss or, death and grief or, being a parent, which is a whole nother type of stress, right? I mean, we're all parents on here, so we already know. I think that, when you're managing other things and you have that kind of close sisterhood, you want to show up for your friends, but when you can't,
right,
and you have that ability and that relationship to be honest enough to say, you know what, I can't today, but I'll check on you maybe tomorrow,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna hit you back later. And then that person not take offense, to really, that person to celebrate, okay, sis, I see you. I know you need your space. Two of my girlfriends, one of the things that we often say to each other is, do you have the capacity for this today? Like if I need to share something, I don't necessarily know what's going on with them in that day and in that moment, but to ask, and they ask the same thing of me, do you have the capacity? So it's almost like a checking in, right?
Absolutely.
Before I give you whatever it is I've got going on, before I ask you to hold space for me, I'm asking you, do you have the capacity to take this and listen to it and be present with it? And if you don't, that tells me that you need to hold space for yourself. And I acknowledge and celebrate that because I want you to be happy and whole and healthy.
Yeah.
I love that.
Nadia, I was going to say, what that really resonates is like, so far we have, what holding space looked like for us as children, and also what it looks like to be able to do a check-in to ask for the other person's availability around that space. And I think that one thing that really reminds me of is that it's okay to have boundaries. We're talking about holding space, but we're not talking about the absence of boundaries. So we're not saying that you have to have the capacity to take in, or that you have to know what to do with that information. So I think that it's really nice that just talking about what friendship looks like. I know I have a great example with Nadia. Like, I was just on vacation, and when Nadia reaches out to me, I respond. So, she didn't realize that just reaching out to me made me feel like, hey, you know what? I really want to check in. And so that she knows that I'm responsive. And I had to say, you know what? I really, really want to hear this information. And I have to hear this when I get back, because in Nadia's text, and it's funny because we have two different lines of texting, which I think people should do. Like, we have a Nadia, this is professional Nadia texted me, text this group. And then we have a Nadia, my friend, is texting me. And I had to let the professional Nadia know, hey, I don't have the capacity.
She sure did. That's not what you said, though, girl. You didn't say I had capacity. She said, I'm going to hit you back when I get back.
I love that. I love that. But I had to say, unless you're texting me to see a picture of my vacation.
Hello.
When I see these text messages, it's making me want to work for her, for the greater good of what we're doing. And that makes me want to show up. And I just have to say, hey, I can't show up right now. So if you want to see a vacation picture, I'm all for you right now. Right. But just seeing the messages made me want to show up and problem solve. And my wheels started turning.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm on vacation.
Oh, I'm trying to figure out what is happening. And I was like, I can't do it. And even seeing the message, I was just like, hey, can we just not even send the message to this phone at this time? And when I get back, I'm totally open. And I literally was texting Nadia on some personal stuff the next day, like, hey girl, look at this picture. And that was it. So I think that's a great example of just being vulnerable,
I love it. And two things came up for me when Nadia was sharing the parenting thing. Because number one, I have two little bitty babies. So I have 3 and 5. So even as you were sharing, I noticed how sometimes when I'm not my best self, right, and my little baby is hurt or they're crying, it makes me feel so uncomfortable that I want them to move through it. It's like, and before I'll have to catch myself. I'm like, you're okay. And it's like, hold on, Destiny. No, they're not. Like, give them space, and it's all this self-check that has to happen, right? Because I made it about me in that moment. I don't want you crying. I want you to feel better. And example number 1 of how not to hold space, and then another thing for me is in friendship. Like, I have noticed the older that I get, I don't even want to be connected too intimately to those that cannot hold space. I found myself being the dumping ground. Like, everybody call and feel, and then I would get off the phone like, okay, you didn't even ask how I'm doing. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
in other spaces, it's like, how you doing, girl? And it's the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you really connect with a sister that can go there, that has the capacity to go there and hold space, it's like you don't even want anything else. It's like, I don't even have time. I don't have energy. Like, can I just have the real?
Yes. Because you already know what it feels like to not have the real, right? And how much time you waste. And I mean, you already said you got 2 little ones. You are a professor. You have your entrepreneurial efforts. You're a licensed mental health professional. What space do you have for the fake? We don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. We have time for like what Lenata was just talking about. Because when Lenata sent me that text, I was like, whoa. I hear you. All right now. I said, you're right. You're on a yacht somewhere off the coast of Africa. And I'm texting you, you know what I'm saying, about some stuff that I could hit you back with later. You know what I'm saying?
And you could have got offended.
I could have got upset. I could have been like, oh, the no, what you mean? No, right? But that's not what this is. She already knows I wanted to be out there with her.
I'm mad at both of you that you weren't there, but that's a different conversation.
I know. I mean, when she came because Lenata lives in DC. Destiny and I are in Birmingham, Alabama, but she had come to Birmingham shortly before she went on her trip. So I see sis buying her jewelry, buying her clothes. She about to go out there and stunt. And I'm like, I want to go. I was like, I want to go on the yacht and go hang out on the water. But holding space, that's another thing too, is that, I celebrate, like we have that friendship. So we, it wasn't hard for me to be like, oh yeah, all right, cool. That's my sis. You right. You're absolutely, because I think that's what hit me. It was like, you know what, you're right. That's some foolishness. Like you're out on your trip. I think when you think about holding space for someone, if you do feel that twinge of like, ew, like, because sometimes people can get offended by your boundaries. You know how you're talking about boundaries. Sometimes, especially if you're somebody who hasn't held boundaries before. I learned boundaries later on in life. Before, I was like cherry Mary muffin, happy all the time. I'd do anything for you, even if I was passing out exhausted at the end of the day because I was doing too much for everybody else. Holding boundaries, when I started to do that, then they were, Nadia switched up. Nadia didn't switch up. Nadia's tired.
Right.
And Nadia is seeing some of the stuff that you were talking about, Destiny, where I felt like I was doing so much for others and I wasn't getting that same kind of energy back. Yeah. So I think holding space, you have to really be able to self-reflect and acknowledge if it feels funny for you. Yes. But I think that you also should be mindful that sometimes holding space isn't easy. Because, again, like I've had friends who have experienced losses, deaths of significant others and different things like that. And it's emotional. It can be emotionally, I don't want to say draining, but difficult. Yeah. To hold space for somebody when they're managing those kind of things, or to sit with them in their tears and not pacify their pain by saying, it'll be okay, girl.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're in a better space, girl. Yeah. They've gone on to, no, just let them have that. Let them have their grief. And just say, I'm there for you. Yeah. What do you need? What do you need? Instead of me projecting onto you what I feel like you might need, right?
Absolutely.
Just to say, I'm here for you. What do you need? Or just sit in silence. There's a ministry, the ministry of presence. You know what I'm saying? I love that. Like, I don't, if in my faith foundation, I know the significance of just sitting there and being present.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I think one thing that we did, you all, without even announcing it, was just, I think a lot of times people have these talks and like they're giving great information, and you see these Black women come together and they only project this idea of perfection, like that you have to be perfect to be able to enter into having these conversations that can get really difficult, and I think that our dynamic and what we're trying to expose is like a level of vulnerability. Is like, it doesn't have to be this like really clean cut idea of what space looks like. you know, and it's okay to know that you might be triggered. Like you might be triggered because I think, Nadia, what you said is like, if you don't have good boundaries and then someone presents a boundary, you're offended, you know, and you're able to respond to it because you're like, okay, where do I put this? Definitely, I like what you said when you were talking about your child, like in holding space for our children. I'm so reminded that my child is this person, you know, and I get really comfortable just thinking that I'm his mother, you know, versus he's another human and he needs a piece of me, like he needs me to be present. So I have to really, I think I'm just now starting to be able to decompress how many layers I have to peel back to really be available for him, you know, and to just be present with him and like anything, and how he calls me to be present, you know.
Yes, I love it.
Like when he's calling me to be present for him, because I can't be this robotic idea of what I think parenthood is supposed to be and just try to be performative with it. He wants me to be inside of his world, you know, and hold space with our kids or other people. Like I think our kids are this mirror of where we're at, you know, with our barometer of like, oh, you want to hold space? Okay. Then when I strip, you know, and when my 3-year-old world is rocks, you know,
the
rationale to me and tell me it's okay. Actually, it's not. You know, my 13-year-old comes to me, he's like, this is what's happening. You know, I have to sit and be uncomfortable with that, and how that anxiety comes up as parents. Like, well, we can't just fix it. You know, we just can't tell them what to do. We can't just fix it. Like, different level of space. Sometimes you can't make it right. And it makes us very uncomfortable. What do you do? Where do you go? Like, you have to come back to these spaces with your sisters that are parents and be able to say, you know what?
Yes.
I felt like I saw my kid, you know, walking with somebody and, you know, they're talking and he's starting to hold space with other people. And I'm like, why am I feeling like the ex-girlfriend on the sideline watching him walking around? You know, what do you do in that space when your kids are starting to live their own lives? So, and that resonates.
That the part about it being not easy, I think, like you said, Lanata, like that's the conversation we need to have more of, so that there's a really realistic expectation, you know, and I think when we have the misconception that it's easy, that's when people begin to go into some type of a box, like, well, let me be less this or more like this or this to try to make it easy, when it's just not easy. Like, we are all so different. Our perspectives are so different. The way that we perceive everything is like, we're different. And then it's like, if we don't make space for that, like if I'm really anal, right? I like things to go a certain way. I could absolutely go into this place and be all stressed out. And you guys don't even know that, you know, like those are just the hard things of getting to know people and being in relationship and loving people enough to make the space for it. Like, make the space.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's not easy.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. And I think one of the reasons why it's not easy is just how society really, or maybe, hold up, I'm about to take it somewhere. Y'all want to go here real quick?
Go ahead.
How Western society really celebrates these concepts of individuality, right? Like, you move in the world as an individual and you take and carry these things on your own. And I think, you know, even though holding space is a concept that's really taking off more so now, even though I'm worried about it becoming commercialized in the same way that self-care has become commercialized, the foundations of holding space for the African diaspora comes from the continent, right? Where ideas of kinship and community and healing circles and all of those ideas were present and warped, you know, over the years. So I think even the idea of why it's so hard is because we have been distanced from traditions that we held, you know, before, you know, traditions that are more in line with who we are.
Yeah.
And so that's also a part of our separation, right? Of our culture and our customs, and really being more indoctrinated into this culture of competition and superhuman strength and individuality, and you manage things on your own, and you don't turn to your community and get the healing from your community that we should and we can get. So I think that that's another part of why it's so hard. It's we've been educated in a certain way, away from ourselves.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. That resonated with me so much. When I was in Africa recently, I was in the store trying to buy a dress, and I said, I had to go get my wallet or something. I was like, this is like lovely dress, love it. And the store owner told me, she said, well, you need to be back before 6 o'clock because I'm closing. And I think the sign said they close like at 8. So I'm checking the sign, checking the thing, like checking myself. I'm like, wait, why are you closing at 6? And she said, the idea of work is very different here. Like, we post these signs for tourists, but we all work off our own individual schedules. And I won't be than 6. And so I quickly go back to the boat, come back to get the money and buy the dress. And she was like, yeah, I have a spa appointment at 6 o'clock.
Oh,
I was like, oh, she's serious. And she said, yeah. So we were like, oh, we're going upstairs to the spa. She was like, yeah, I'll see you there. She was like, I don't miss an appointment. She was closing her shop, you all. This nice little boutique. She said, I have a spa appointment at 6 o'clock. Whatever you think about this dress is cute, but if you're not back here before 6 o'clock, it will be in the store.
Come on.
This is it. She was like, the concept of work is very different here. We don't value the work. We do work, but we don't value work. Is not the highest value here.
My goodness.
It's like, I don't work beyond 6 o'clock. This shop will be closed. And sure enough, she closed that shop. When we went upstairs in the spa, she was sitting in the lobby.
Oh,
like,
I love it.
hey, this is it. And she was serious.
Like, so, and it's, so basically our ideas of work, our ideas of accomplishment, all of these ideas make it difficult for us to even understand what it means to hold space. We can't hold space for ourselves because we're so busy. Yeah. We can't hold space because we're running. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, how can we even think to hold space for someone else when we're constantly told to be productive all the time, from the time you wake up in the morning? And I'm guilty of that. Like, I am. And that's how burnout happens, right? Like you're constantly feeling like you have to do and be and accomplish and mark off that checklist. But you're right. Other places, yes. I remember being. They don't do that. I remember being in France, and that whole concept of things shutting down, like for lunch, was it siesta, some kind of thing? Like, it was like they shut it down, shut it down for an hour or two, and still clocked out at 5 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes stores stayed open, sometimes they didn't. Restaurants would be full because people lived. They really kind of. They lived, they unpacked, they checked out. And you're right. It was this whole idea of, I go to work, but I am not my work. Yes. And that's not a part of my identity. My identity is going over here to this pub and getting this glass of wine, or going home to a family, or, watching television or whatever it is. But it's not. So I do think that a lot of our running and doing and being and all these things that we feel like we have to do, and that's often celebrated, right? Because it's like, when somebody passes away, well, they were there for everybody else and they accomplished all these things. But I don't know. I would love for people to say that I was present, whenever my time comes. She always made me feel seen. She always made me feel loved. She walked in her own healing. Yes. Which one of y'all gonna say that at my service?
Yes. I know that in some circles that I've been in, it is really even frowned upon, because I would share with my people that were close to me, like, let's go and buy a house together. Let's like move in and have this communal environment. And I know it began to really, really hit me after I had children. Cause I'm like, okay, so wife, mom, you know, professional woman, like how? So I began to look back, like my family, you know, there were multiple adults in the house, you know, taking care of the children. So I would talk to my friends. I'm like, y'all, we need to like help each other. We need to come together and support. Like, why are you moving an hour away? And what about the kids? But everything is just to create this distance instead of us coming together, you know, and sitting on the porch at the end of a day, having dinner. I remember my mom, she was always calling somebody to come get a plate. They're going to sit on the porch. They're going to have a conversation. Then they're going to feel better, you know.
Right.
And it's like, we have just gotten so far away from that. But that is what my heart desires.
Yes.
It's my heart's desire to get, you know, really close and to be intimate and to raise these babies together and to just connect on a real level. That's it.
And make sure your babies have their aunties, you know, their play aunties and all those kind of things, you know, because you just never know what's going to happen. You just never, you need time for yourself. So if you need time for yourself and your kids know who the aunties are and they know who their community is, then they'll feel comfortable getting dropped off and getting spoiled. If I don't love anything, I love kidnapping some kids.
But I was sharing about when you invited me over for dinner and you were like, just bring the kids, you know? So it wasn't this thing of, oh, I couldn't come because I had my babies. And I was just saying that we need more of that. You know, we could get together. We have our sister time. Like that is community. That's family. That is just what we need more of, you know?
Yes. And I like being the fun auntie. I do. I'll take them to the dollar store and let them ball out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Take them to the dog. And then, you know, when they get too old for that, because, you know, the little ones, they love that. Oh, I can get 5 things. You can get 5 whole toys. Go ahead. This is your world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When they get older, they're like, say what?
With you, Nadia, because listen, when we go to the dollar store, I'm still like, you're getting one thing, one toy.
Oh.
But you can go with your auntie Nadia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to ball out.
That's right.
We're going to go to the dollar store. We're going to go get some ice cream. We're going to the park. We're going to kick a ball around. I love it. Gives me permission to be a kid again. So I love it. Now, when they get to the teenage age, I don't know what to do with them.
Send them to me. Send them to me.
Oh, send them to you so you can get the teenagers. I'll get the babies. That'll work. Because my daughter right now, she just want to go to the mall. And I remember being that age where I just want to walk around the mall. But now I want to go to the mall. It's just so boring. It's just like, why are we here? I'm not about to buy anything. Yeah.
I said the dollar store has the same effect on me as an adult.
Hey, so I think we're in the same boat because they built one not too far from here, like a brand new one, like less than a mile from my house. And even Cassie was embarrassed about how excited I was. But I was like, girl, you can go in there and get anything. All sorts of foolishness. So back to holding space. See, even this, like, I think sometimes, let's take it here. Holding space, we think about holding space for the tragedy of life, right? For the extra times where we need that extra support because we're really managing something difficult. Sometimes holding space is this. Like we need to hold space and give ourselves room to laugh and be silly because we're professional all the time. We're in those spaces where we're having to be suited up and booted up and we're having to be like, oh, this, that, and the third. But sometimes holding space means, you know what, girl, come over here and we're going to chat and laugh. I have a friend coming over today. Her daughter and my daughter in the same age, right? It's the same grade at the same school. So they're going to go be their little preteen teeny bop selves. And her and I are going to chit chat because she got a new job and we hadn't seen each other and we're going to cook some food and laugh. And sometimes the holding space is just that, being present to laugh and enjoy life.
Yes. Even yesterday evening, y'all, I was driving. So I reached out to a couple girlfriends and I was just like, it's Friday. I want to pick my babies up. I want to go to a friend's house. I want to just sit there and do nothing in like lounge clothes on the couch with my feet up with my babies playing around and just,
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Sometimes holding space is that. Sometimes holding space is just making room for joy.
Yes.
Because we're running and moving and doing and being. Sometimes holding space means making room for joy and allowing people to usher you into your joy. Because, I had a little bit of an episode earlier, well, not this, a month ago, around my birthday time. And it was some girlfriends that were like, oh no, it's your birthday month. What we're not going to do is let this day go by like it's nothing, and I did have other people in my life that were celebrating me in that moment, but I found myself downplaying my birthday. And I never downplay my birthday, right? Because I'm a birthday. Look at Lenata's face. Lenata's like, that is not what we do, sis. We celebrate these things. Mm-hmm. Yes. But I found myself minimizing it because I had so much other stuff going on. And I was just like, I don't even know if I'm in the mood to celebrate and And but girlfriends held space to say, no, joy. We're going to make space for you to have joy in your life. We're going to speak life into that. And and they were right. They brought me back to myself because Lenata knows, because I celebrated a birthday in DC. That was a
amazing,
great birthday. Great birthday. I mean, we always have a good time when I come DC. That's like a second home. But I had a great birthday. I'm somebody who believes in celebrating birthdays. I'm the one who grabs friends and say, oh, we celebrate what we wanted. What you going to do? We're going to do this. But this year, for some reason, I was in this space where there's just so much going on in life. And I was like, it's a Wednesday. I just, never mind. And my friends were like, no, we're going to hold space so that you can tap into your joy because you're a joyful person. That's who we know you to be. And so holding space is that too. It's just holding space can bring you back to yourself. That's why it's important to hold space for yourself first, so that and then hold space for others and have those genuine friendships, like what you mentioned, Destiny, because when you have those genuine friendships, when you are not yourself, your friends can hold space for you and bring you back to yourself.
Yes, I love that.
When I tell you I love my girlfriends, I love y'all. I love my girlfriends. Woo! I don't care what kind of relationship I am in with my life. He better be okay with some girlfriends.
That was like on my list of you know how we make our list of what we want in a partner. But yeah, that was important to me because I love hard. And when I call a person a friend and you're like close to me, you're my person. Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah. And I just knew that I needed a partner that would understand that. And I'm so grateful. So grateful.
Yeah. Well, ladies, I love you. I think this has been a great conversation for everybody who's watching. I hope you pulled some nuggets out of this. I hope that you have gotten permission to hold space for yourself, so that you can also, in turn, hold space for others. I hope that you share this with your girlfriends. I hope you take some time to call your girlfriends, reach out for your girlfriends, and tell them how much you love them, how much you appreciate them, what they mean for you. And I hope you don't ever get too busy or too consumed by life to make time for your girlfriends, to make time to hold space for yourself and for others, because what we know to be true as professionals, as mental health advocates, and as an organization, is that holding space, being present, and showing up for yourself is good for your mental health.
So you said call them and thank them. Can I call them and go off on them too? Like,
who you gotta go off on?
I'm just saying.
Who do you have to go off on, Destiny?
Can I call them and tell them, like, I mean, what are we doing? I need you to make space, and I need you to hold space for me.
There you go.
Just yes or no, Nadia. Can I message them that and say that too, or like no?
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like you holding your friends accountable for whatever kind of friendship they have. And it goes back to what you said earlier. It's like no fake friends. You know how they've been saying no new friends? It's not no new friends, no fake friends.
Right.
Because if you got fake friends, you might need to get rid of them and go get some new friends.
I do this about once a year. Like I be telling my friends, now look.
Destiny's like, look, we about to unfriend. This like it's not even social media in real life. Unfriend.
Because it requires intentionality. So thank you for permission, because I'm gonna send that message.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna have people just crying on a weekend. I gotta let go. And Destiny's gonna be like,
or they get in order. They
you're right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hold them accountable. Pull them in line. Let them know what kind of friendships we're going to have. We're going to have real friendship. No fake friends. No fake friends. All right. So join us for the next episode of Sister Speak. This is a space for you to hold space for yourself and for others, right? So you can follow us on all social media platforms and visit nomore-martyrs.org/Sister Speak for more episodes and information about our Sister Speak awareness campaign. So thank you so much for joining us. I love you, ladies.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. This is Space We Hold for You. Can't wait to see you next time.
Yes, next time. Bye.